Woo! What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys. And of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Take a second, hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all social media at MyCowboysFamily, and hop in the Discord. Link for that's in the description box down below. And of course, guys, we can't just kick things off here on the MCF side of things without showing the love and the appreciation to the people helping to make MCF happen here on the daily and the nightly.
Hell yeah.
So a huge thank you to our current sponsor of the week, representing it back-to-back,
like our 90s Cowboys,
MyCowboysFamily.
Yes, much love to Big Mark, representing the sponsor of the week board 2 weeks in a row. Is he going for 3?
We'll have to see.
He's in the lead right now for the top spot. He's also got 98 points on the Stream Boss. Big shout outs to Mark Hosepian. Huge shout out to the man, SnugX, 9 weeks in a row as the Cash App King. You know why he's here.
You know it.
And appreciate him as always, Mr. SnugX. But we have somebody that's kind of trying to break that streak. Going in double digits. The guy who's trying to break that streak, go to 10 in a row, is Jason Renfro, who right now is the leader in the Cash App. And remember, Jason got the all-time lead in streak weeks, I guess you could say, 20 weeks in a row for Jason Renfro as a Cash App King. So he wants to make sure SnugX don't win it this week.
That's right.
And we'll see what happens. Now,
and of course, you can't forget the gifted membership king. Believe it's Jason Renfro as well, no?
Nope. It's the man staying skeptical. Skeptical fan. Yeah, you got to remember that. It's important. These are our gifting champs.
Well,
so
it's not on the screen.
It's never on the screen. It's, again, the gifting champion is the best way. Gifting memberships, one of the best ways to help this channel out, because you're helping out the channel, but you're also helping out other family members in the chat. So much love. Again, Jason Renfro had a couple streaks, the Lunatic and others. Skeptical was the OG 3 months in a row in that gifted membership side of things, and now he's got that crown back. But there's only one person that dropped a gifting membership this week, and it's Justin D in the place to be. He's our current leader right now, trying to take that gifting championship away from Jason Renfro. We'll see what happens. So that's everything on those boards, guys. I truly appreciate everybody who's got the crown or leading, who got the big wins last week, and the people that are leading, this week, to kind of take over the spots next week. And there's other ways of dropping the love here to help the channel out, whether it's super chat or gifting membership, jumping in the membership side as well, like Captain DCW. Much love to him, back in the Navy Blue crew. But all those things, and thanks button. But then there's 4 ways to be in the Cash App side. The thing that Jason Renfro got the lead on and SnugX got 9 weeks on, these are the other ways you can get in that running.
Of course, you have the Cash App money sign MyCowboysFamily, the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal link, and last but not least, the Streamlabs link lets your comments show up on screen just like a super chat.
Damn right. So we'll talk about that as well as the last part of things, which is the star and over everything level shoutouts. This is a nightly thing here on MCF, guys. So without further ado, let's give them the shout out. Skeptical Fan, Jason Renfro, Dwayne Broussard, Lincoln Kane, Mary Alvarez, Andy Potched, Marissa Sparkle, and the Lunatic. Appreciate everybody there in the star and over everything levels. And now, before we get, actually, I got to remind everybody one last thing. If you do want in on that star or over everything level membership, there is a very special raffle once a month here. The very special prize: a sewn and stitched jersey, Cowboy Mosh style, multiple jerseys and players to pick from, old and new styles, all kinds of different styles, sewn and stitched, authentic like Cowboy Mosh style. Guys, we have like 1 billion of these jerseys. Just had some other raffles going on this week with SnugX winning and giving that to Scorpio, Jason Renfro winning his jersey. Yeah, that was just this past weekend. Congrats to those guys. But that was the Lunatic raffle. This is the monthly star and over everything level membership raffle. So you got to get into that before Saturday night, because Sunday during the game sometime we're going to do the raffle for the star level membership, and there's going to be a lucky winner in the star and over everything side of things. That's this Sunday during the game for the month of October. Just want to make sure that's clear. Back at things, maybe as we roll on, it's time for those shout-outs on the nightly. Who's in the house tonight ready to talk some Cowboy football?
We have Asmodeus in the house. What's up? Stephen White. Hello and hi. We have Rolando Rodriguez all the way from South Texas. Much love. Icy Dirtbag, kicking things off with the jokes, saying Kellen Moore will be the best coach at that game.
That is a joke.
Well, if somehow that ends up being the reality, then it's because, I don't know, we left all our coaches at home or something. Oh. Sorry, that
it'd be another embarrassment, that's for sure.
Chalk to Montana to Wade, also dropping the love.
Yeah.
We have Spoony Dog, what's up? Hello and hi. Stephen White representing. Jason Renfro, of course. Much love to you. Fuego 2.0. Hopefully you're, continuing on that speedy recovery road. Hope you're feeling better.
Much love.
Freedom First. Hey, he actually managed to be first today. Good for you. So, as of now, I think that's everybody here. As more people trickle in, I'll make sure to shout them out, give them the love. But, baby, I know we have some NFL news, some Cowboy-adjacent news, and, of course, some Cowboy news, right? Brandon James, what's up? Hello and hi.
Let's get to the NFL news, starting with you, baby. What was today's Thursday night game on Amazon Prime? It's Kansas City Chiefs at home against the Denver Broncos. Well, what was the final score on that, baby?
Well, it ended up being 19-8, and if you were watching, it was pretty much exactly what you expected as far as from the KC side of things. They pretty much dominated the whole game, but right at the last minute, Denver did almost make a comeback. They did something there.
Veteran experience of Russell Wilson got back in it, and they scored that 9 points or 8 points, but it wasn't enough. Just not going to be enough. Said they was 16-9 at some point in the fourth quarter, but they took the field goal to end that game, and the Chiefs won it pretty easily. The Broncos are now 1-5, and the Chiefs are 5-1. So
yeah,
there you go. They're back at it, and after that opening loss against the Lions. So going to the Broncos for a second, though, baby. Some teams around the league are kind of in the know now when it comes to the Broncos because the Broncos are willing to listen to trade offers for wide receivers, Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton. Remember, in the offseason, a lot of word the Cowboys were looking to get one of these guys onto the team. Sounds like the Cowboys passed on that, went with Brandon Cooks. And now, we're probably not going to make a move for either of these two guys, but the Broncos also said, because the one thing we kind of heard from the Broncos, and maybe the Cowboys will make a desperate move for, I doubt it. Patrick Surtain, guy we wanted to draft back there, that back in the 3 years ago. So Broncos said they have no interest, none, in trading Patrick Surtain, but they said they're thinking about moving a player like Frank Clark. And now here's the thing about Frank Clark, edge rusher. Keep an eye on that because the Broncos today agree, and he didn't play in this game today. They had him as I think it was a healthy scratch, and he's a star player for them. Frank Clark agreed to take a pay cut today that takes his $3.5 million base salary all the way down to the minimum, the vet minimum, and clears it basically the rest of the way. He gets it down to $841,000, the base for his salary. Clark gave back $1.679 million in the base pay as part of his restructure on the contract, which, by the way, makes Frank Clark, when you do a restructure like this to make his base pay go down, he is tradable now. Before this, he wasn't tradable.
As we
now he's tradable.
Are pretty well acquainted with here in Dallas, just because, again, the Joneses for the last handful of years have been using some of that maneuvering to put themselves in their own, ideal positions. So, I was just saying, teams are starting to catch on.
The reason why that Frank Clark is redoing this deal is because he knows by taking this restructuring of the base, he knows he's going to get traded, which is what he wants and what the Broncos want. And so it's not just about making room for the future or taking them, like a restructure we've done. This restructure is primarily going to be to make him more attractive for trade offers. Because right now, no team's going to want to pay him the base plus his full salary that the team will be responsible in a trade. Because they lowered it from $3.5 million in base to $841,000, it's going to make him extremely tradable for this season. So think about that. I don't know about us, edge rusher, do we really need another one? But keep that in mind, though, when it comes to Frank Clark, he might be moving around in the NFL. Now, enough of NFL news. Let's talk Cowboy-centric news. Unfortunately, a bad start to this. Walt Garrison led the Big Eight in rushing as an Oklahoma State Cowboy. Also, of course, won a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys in the 71 season, our first Super Bowl against the Dolphins there. He today, unfortunately, passed away. He died. He was 79 years old. Remember, he also not just a star with the Dallas Cowboys, but also in the offseason competed as a actual cowboy, as a rodeo cowboy. So, again, our condolences to Walt Garrison and his family. Super Bowl champion with the Cowboys today, died at 79 years old. Now, let's get into the Cowboy news that's current now. Mike McCarthy spoke today in front of the cameras, and he actually touched on a couple of things that are going to be very important when it comes to the injury side of things. Now, speaking about Mike McCarthy, speaking about LVE, Leighton Vander Esch, with the neck issue, McCarthy today, before it was done, McCarthy confirmed today that he is going to be placed on the injured reserve. No surprise. Anybody surprised?
We had kind of expected it after we saw what the injury was. It had been pretty much spoken about since the moment he had that injury. So, like you said, no real surprises there.
Yeah, none at all. So, again, LV injury reserve, according to Mike McCarthy, no update beyond that. Now, Vander Esch expected to miss, like we said, the next 4 to 6 weeks with the neck strain. And the hope is he will be designated to return in the next 4 weeks or so, or a little bit more than that, right? LV leads the Cowboys in tackles, and of course he scored one of the 3 defensive touchdowns so far this year. But the tackles are a big deal here. Missing those tackles as a middle linebacker, off-ball middle linebacker, that's a specified position that we are missing right now. Until, of course, we picked up Rashaan Evans, which again, if he's free agent, why is that? I know you have some insight on that, but more importantly, we'll hear from Rashaan Evans a little later today. During the Wednesday workout, because remember, they worked him out yesterday, and McCarthy said today about that workout when they did it yesterday, signed him immediately. Why? Because they said he loved his workout, and he thinks, quote, he'll be a great fit for the defense. Interesting to see the love they're throwing this guy here, a guy who's on our practice squad, by the way, who is going to have to probably play on this defense sooner than later because of the fact that we're very thin at linebacker, specifically off-ball middle linebacker, which is his specialty. So McCarthy said this, quote, I think Will McClay does an excellent job. And obviously there's some feedback from individuals in his past. So the Cowboys with Will McClay are checking the background to, Rashaan Evans, other, maybe some background stuff with him that's not really only on the football field, but what kind of a guy is in the locker room, checking with former players. So that seems to be what Will McClay did, and Mike McCarthy kind of said that today. He said they got feedback from individuals in Rashaan Evans' past, and he said that Rashaan Evans had a really good workout. One of the candidates we brought in, we clearly felt he was the best fit. Remember those 4 guys they brought in, and this was the guy they signed.
Yeah, and honestly, it seems like it was pretty much, I don't want to say instantaneous, but it seems like on both sides it felt like it was a natural fit. Yeah. Our
need and what he does, which is off-ball linebacker. He did that for all the games last year. Again, Falcons sucked, but he wasn't bad. He was out there with 110 tackles. That's 10th best in the NFL on solo tackles and assisted tackles. He was 4th best in the NFL. That's a tackling machine in the middle of the defense. So that's great news from, a little insight from McCarthy about Rashaan Evans. Remember, guys, 2018, he was a first-round pick. I think it was a couple picks, or was he right behind LVE? Tennessee Titans drafted him, and he ended up with a couple teams. Atlanta last year, like I said, started all 18 games. The whole season started every game at that off-ball middle linebacker, which is what LVE did. So, again, first-round pick from Alabama. He had 159 tackles, guys, in his 17 starts for the Falcons last year. I said he had 110 solo tackles. Yeah, the other 40 plus. It's 159 159 total tackles in the 17 starts for the Falcons last year. Very good numbers. A tackling machine. Maybe not the defense around him, but he did his job. So this is I believe it's a perfect replacement for LVE, and it's the best replacement than anybody else that we have on our team right now. The other question is, how long will it take for Rashaan Evans to get on the field? How long will it take them to kind of know the defense and his responsibilities are? Because, again, in this defense, there's a lot of disguising from Dan Quinn. There's a lot of movement. And you got to always know what's going on. So it's going to be something that, again, LV had the green dot. You might see Jaron Kearse or Malik Hook or one of these guys have the green dot until they get maybe Rashaan Evans a little bit more up to date on the scheme. But he might be able to play. I think he speaks later today I wouldn't hold my breath about him playing, but he will. He will. I know the Cowboys are getting him ramped up as fast as possible. Again, remember, guys, he hasn't been playing recently. He was on the Eagles practice squad for like 4 days, and they cut him. And I don't know how ramped up and ready he is for football. So we'll hear about that later. Now, another guy that Mike McCarthy spoke about today was our kick returner / wide receiver, Kevontae Turpin. What's his status right now for the game on Sunday? And
well, we knew the last word was that he had some kind of a high ankle sprain or something, right?
But yet, even with that, they said that he still is going to push to play this week or to practice today. Jeez. The expectation. Well, we knew this already from the last couple of days.
I know. I'm just saying, like, it's still the fact that he's still on track there. I was kind of expecting. I figured this was one of McCarthy's little, will he, won't he situations like we've done the last few weeks.
Well, again, now with the ankle from Turpin. His status for practicing today, according to McCarthy, quote, I would put him in the classification of being in the rehab group. We'll see, though, he's chomping at the bit to get after it. So basically saying today on hit day, well, today's the first day of practice. Remember that. The first day on the field practice, usually the Cowboys do this on Wednesday and then Thursday, but today, because we have a Monday night game, it's pushed forward a day. Keep that in mind. So today's the practice with pads. Tomorrow's the big, tough practice. So really, I think McCarthy maybe wants to see if he can get into practice tomorrow more so. But we'll see how he did in practice today. That's the situation with him. But the point here about Kevontae Turpin, he's banged up, but he might be able to get on that practice field. He might be able to play. I still wouldn't hold my breath, but it's a good sign he's not going to be out too long. Now, Donovan Wilson. Moving on to his injury, guys. This was interesting to me, the injury for Donovan Wilson. No one spoke about it. It was like he was hurt. He couldn't even walk off on his own, and then he did an MRI. He was good, and then they didn't say anything about it. Well, today, Donovan Wilson, guys, according to McCarthy, expected to practice.
Okay.
Even after getting knocked out Sunday, which is great. A lot of people are saying this is what happens when you play the Niners. You get beat up, and you lose guys. So, again, that's the reason why a lot of teams have lost the last, 14 games in a row that the Niners have won, or 15 games, or 14, I guess. The last 14 games the Niners have won, the team that they beat lost this following week after that. Every single time. So now, are we going to be 15th? I don't know. But we are banged up. That's no doubt about that. Another guy who's out, didn't even play in the game against the Niners, tight end Peyton Hendershot with the ankle injury, according to McCarthy, could very well be a candidate for injured reserve. And he missed 2 weeks already, so we didn't put him on injured reserve before this. Now he's going to go on for 4 more weeks. That's going to mean somebody's going to move up, if you know what I mean. I'll explain that in a minute. Yeah,
we're going to have to.
Yeah, we're going to be, again, we got to make a move. We depend on elevations on our practice squad. We got to move somebody up here as our third tight end. McCarthy also said one last thing. Well, I guess not one thing, but one last thing. But he also said something else here about the injury situation. Cornerback Nahshon Wright. He has an ankle injury, been out since the season started. Today, according to McCarthy, today the Cowboys are going to activate his 21-day practice window, which means that now in 3 weeks he has to get back on that field or he's out for the year.
But still, finally, some positive progress having him come back.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know how much I trust Nahshon Wright on the field. He has a lot of issues out there, so I'm not sure if that's a great thing or not. But at least we have more depth.
I was going to say, right now we need all the help we can get, including Nahshon Wright. So, he's not out there being a starter, but here's another piece that we have to help contribute. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he was at least a pretty solid special teams player, which with C.J. Goodwin gone, that would be nice to continue to have, right? Like, that's consistent special teams contributors from some of our super deeper depth guys.
That's where he's going to probably help us the most, is on special teams. I agree with you there, especially for CJ Goodwin. So we'll see Nahshon Wright. Now he's back to practice. Will he play this week? Not sure. He's not on the active roster yet, but just the fact that they activated his 21-day window, it's a good sign he'll be back sooner than later. Hopefully that's the case. Now, I definitely see him back no later than the Rams game in a couple of weeks, right after our bye. But either way, Nahshon Wright and the tackle guard, second-year guy, Matt Waletzko, with the shoulder injury, both these guys have spent the season's first 5 weeks on injured reserve. Waletzko's another guy, according to, again, McCarthy, he didn't mention him, so that means Waletzko's not coming back, not coming back this week or coming back anytime soon. Why? His 21-day window was not open yet to ramp back up with the team. So, obviously, I would say that Waletzko's a little bit farther behind than Nahshon Wright getting back on that field. Just a quick little overview there on the injury side of things. What about some injured feelings out there? And I'm specifically saying CeeDee Lamb. Now, McCarthy said he doesn't really classify pass catchers or receivers as wide receiver 1. He's our number 1 guy. He's our number 2 guy. He's our number 3 guy, number 4 guy, etc. Then he was asked, Mike McCarthy, is CeeDee Lamb classified as a wide receiver type, wide receiver 1, a number 1 receiver type of wide receiver? And he said, quote, absolutely. So wait, Mike McCarthy doesn't really put these guys as receiver 1, 2. It sounds Kellen Moore-ish a little bit there. And CeeDee Lamb, when he was asked what kind of receiver, is he a receiver number 1 type, or is he a wide receiver number 1 type of receiver? And he said, absolutely. It makes sense if you have a number 1 receiver and he's admitting this is our number 1 guy, it makes sense that you try to find a ways to get this guy the ball. And when you're saying, well, I don't really classify my receivers as receiver 1, 2, 3, 4, you're not really looking at which is your number 1 receiver. Even though he just said it is CeeDee Lamb. So I'm watching you, Mike McCarthy. You're fucking up a little bit here. And then, as the last thing was said by McCarthy, it was about a 3-hour quote. I think that one of the reporters said it was a word salad, because there's just a lot of bullshit. It's that like that freaking trying to sell you, trying to trick you, lie to you to get the job kind of deal. I think Simon said once he's a used car salesman type of thing. It relates to this situation. Baby, I don't know if you're going to read the whole quote, but I'm going to, people in the chat, listen to this as closely as you can, because I'm going to kind of break down a couple of things. Mike McCarthy was asked about the lack of identity and rhythm on the offense. This is all about the offense today, right? When it comes to, right now we're talking offense, play calling, the lack of identity and rhythm on offense. What happened, Mike McCarthy, right? And his answer was basically like, hey, this is just happening. This happens normally when you're starting off coaching as a play caller for the first time, right? Well, I'm not going to paraphrase it, baby. Hit me with whatever you got on this quote, this long-ass quote about why our offense is fucking up.
Yeah, I'm going to do my best to just kind of touch on the more important points of the things that McCarthy said here, or else we'll be here until next week just reading this one quote. So McCarthy basically was asked, about the lack of identity on offense, the lack of rhythm, like the lack of everything, right? He said, I think clearly we knew this coming out of camp. It's where you are when you do some changes. We knew there were going to be some things in protection we needed more work on because it's different. There's things in the passing game we needed to work on that were different, and we'll continue to grow that. I have great confidence in that. Like, he didn't really, I'm just saying, like, he didn't really say anything there. He basically also added in there, when you look at the full 5 weeks, there has been consistency. Number 1, you have to score points in the league. In the modern NFL, you look at all the critical elements to being a championship football team. Scoring points is way up there.
Yeah, but
again, McCarthy is straight up just seeing it as, we just got to score points. So he's not as bothered by the fact that Brandon Aubrey makes up 50% of our fucking offense. Okay then.
Last year, in the offseason, Mike McCarthy said that Kellen Moore, basically he implied that Kellen Moore only cared about scoring points. When did we stop caring about scoring points? I don't mind doing it his way, McCarthy's way, but what about the points? Now he just said it's important.
Yeah.
Right? High on the list of priority.
And that's why I said I just thought that was a interesting comment. And he said, adding in there, the strength of our defense is taking care of the ball, number 1, which you didn't do. Number 2 is having discipline and patience if we have to go to the long route. At the end of the day, those conversations are for establishing menus of how you're going to run it, throw it, protect. Some players are coming back, and we haven't seen a lot from them this year, so you factor that in. You select your menu items. You go to work to put together a plan. Mike McCarthy was clearly hungry when he, did this press conference. He's talking about his menu, his ingredients.
Did you ever doubt it, though? I mean, he's a big guy. So, look, I don't know if that's the whole thing, but...
like I said, that's the whole thing as far as the summarized points there.
I know he also went over a couple other things, but I'm just going to kind of paraphrase and give my thoughts on a couple other things that Mike McCarthy said about his offense that's not working. Basically, you mentioned a couple things, baby, about like the change of system. It's such a big overhaul, right? But didn't we hear at the beginning of the season it was supposed to be not a complete system change? Wasn't it supposed to be 20 to 30%?
Yeah.
So who is he bullshitting? He got caught in a lie there? Just asking. He also mentions time of possession, which he says is a goal for the offense. And he said it is associated with positive team outcomes. But it truly appears that it's not really that does it. It's really about how well the offense and defense maximize the expected potential on each play, and how often do you convert in your series? How many series you have? What's your conversion rate? It's not a cause of time of possession. And I think Mike McCarthy is pushing that the wrong way. I understand the positive of having time of possession, but I think he's missing the fact that it's not only that's not the way to win here, McCarthy. It's the conversion rates. It's maximizing your EPA. Talk to your analytics crew. They would tell you the same thing, but he's not going to tell us. He's going to tell us what he needs to tell us so we stay off his back. So Mike McCarthy, in my opinion, and this is unfortunate, he's kind of taken the offense and going back 30 years when the origination, the first kind of half decade or decade of the West Coast offense was around. He's taking it back 35 years with his thinking. And that is frustrating. That is sad. I really hope. I don't know if they can change it at this point. I really don't. But we'll talk more about this offense tomorrow and kind of go into that side of things. Any quick comments on the chat or about you, baby, before we roll on to the next thing?
Let me see here. Rolling back a little bit. Let me see. Hold on, Rodriguez saying, MCF, he's not playing. How many times have the Cowboys lied about injuries? And that's kind of going back to the whole Turpin thing and some of the Cowboy shenanigans our team has pulled.
With the bye week right around the corner, some of these guys that seem like, it's going to be close, or will he play? They're not going to play. I think the best thing on most of these guys is to give them the bye week, and then you come back against the Rams when MCF is in town to watch the game. This is going to be our last live stream game day reaction for 3 weeks, basically, until after the Rams, until the Philly game that night. Philly, a Sunday night game. That'll be our next, live stream reaction. So that'll be. That's fun.
A good one to come back for.
Yeah, a great one to come back for. After this week, of course, after this Charger game.
Oh yeah, that goes without saying, right? So a big mahalo to Marco Seppi and aloha to you now.
Much love.
Let me see.
He's our
Pioneer. Hello,
sponsor of the week. Pioneer in the house.
Drums and Cowboys, what's up? Saying McCarthy can say whatever he wants now. If we don't get into the playoffs with his high school offense, he's gone, and maybe even Prescott next year. Boom.
I mean, again, I cannot agree with that more than what he's saying. Again, I think this year McCarthy's gone if he don't fix this thing, and next year, I don't know if you agree or disagree with me on this. I know I was kind of saying this a little bit a while ago, but I think Dak Prescott, I don't know if he goes next year, but I don't think the Cowboys sign him for any more extensions. If he shits the bed too. Yeah. Remember, guys, you got to remember, it's not just about Dak doing it right or wrong on the field. One of the parts you got to really blame Dak about is he's part of the guy who helped make this offense with Mike McCarthy. McCarthy's responsible in the end, and no question, no doubt. But Dak Prescott told him what his tendencies are, told him what he likes to see. This is what they worked into this plan, and this is not working. So Dak Prescott, Mike McCarthy, they both get blamed for this. Deion Sanders called out the Cowboys. I think last night
rightfully so.
I think it was on Inside the NFL, and Deion Sanders, of course, coach for the Colorado Buffalo now in college, said that Coach Prime, I guess we could say, quote, the Cowboys have guys that are supposed to be dogs, and he just shook his head, guys, and just was disappointed. Disapproved of the way the Cowboys have been playing. I mean, he's still a Cowboy. And he even said, as he continued his little rant against it, he talked about other things, but he was talking about the Cowboys. And we're supposed to have dogs on this team. Offense, defense, everybody. Where are they? And then as he trailed off and just shook his head, he said, quote, I felt bad for Dak. Because I think Dak is better than that. End quote. Which, again, a bad game from Dak Prescott. The best Dak lover has to admit that.
You can take that statement two ways, right? I feel bad for Dak. I think Dak's better than that. As in, I feel bad for Dak. Dak himself is on a performance level, can do better than he did now. Or you could take it as, I feel bad for Dak because I think Dak is better than that, as, the team sucked so bad and let him down, or so, you know what I mean?
I think it's a combination
of both ways.
It's both, but not that the team. Dak, you feel bad for Dak because of the scheme that's in there. It's not helping Dak Prescott, but also you feel bad for Dak because he had a bad game. Plain and simple. Much love, Mark Hosepian, dropping that 5 on it. The first drop of the night, kicking it off here in MCF. What did the man say?
He said, Mr. MCF,
yes,
I don't agree with you on Williams. I get it takes time to develop, but your first and second round guys have to make some noise. 22, he was solid, but this year, 0.
I mean, we're going to get to the defense in a minute because we're talking about the offense of the Chargers tonight versus our defense. But listen, Mark, all I wanted to say is started this year. What did I say this year? Last year was very good, efficient-wise, with the minimal 23% of the snaps he took last year. This year, I want to see more from him. I am agreeing with you, Mark. I think last year he showed something. This year we got to expand that, right? And so far, nothing. Exactly. So I agree, Mark. We agree here. I'm not. If I'm calling out a player and I said I want to see more, when he don't show more, I'm going to call his ass out. So I'm with you, Mark. We're in agreement. But Sam Williams, I think, it's not about him beating out guys or not beating out guys. I think because he's here for the long haul, Cowboys are trying to get the most out of the guys they currently do pay money to, like Fowler and Armstrong. So these guys, no matter what, even if they're better or not, even if it's the look, because I think that Sam Williams is the future. But he's not allowed to get that spot yet because they got two guys much more, getting heftier paychecks than Sam Williams. So developing a guy slowly is what the Cowboys are choosing to do with Sam Williams. I don't know if that Sam Williams can't handle it. He looked like he could handle it last year, right? So he looked. I'm with you, Mark. So I don't know how you feel about this, baby. But Sam Williams, I think he'll come around. But it might take an extra year. And I hate saying this because I agree with Mark. But it might be because that's the way the Cowboys want to see it. With Fowler, they're paying $5 million, and Armstrong, they're paying $6 million. They want to see it from those guys because they got to pay them and they play it out. Next year, Sam Williams will be. I'm waiting for Sam Williams to be the starter officially, right? I was hoping to see more of that this year, and it seems like it's taking some time. Is it his fault? Is it the way that the Joneses want it? I think that's a major question we have to ask here. I'm curious what Mark thinks about that little connection between having guys in front of him, whether he can beat him out or not. I know Mark's going to say he's going to beat him out, but it's not about beating him out. He could be beating him out. It doesn't matter. They got to see these other higher paid guys play on that field. Agree or disagree, guys? That could be one of the reasons. We saw this with Zeke. We saw this, right? We saw Dak we saw the front office say, here, Dak, do everything because we're paying you $40 million last year. So to me, that's a lot of issues there. Look, Deion Sanders feeling bad for Dak. So we're talking about Dak back here again. That he feels, again, he thinks Dak is better than that. Dak can play better than that is what he's saying. But also, Dak can be better with that if you give him a little bit better offense. A little bit better something more. Again, I hate saying that he has to be perfect, Dak. But he's practiced for this scheme. He's all in on this scheme, which he helped design with Mike McCarthy. He's taking the blame on this one too. All right, that's what I'm trying to say. But so much we can do once the season is going, and there's no scheme changing or scheme adaptation that's going to be big enough to maybe help this offense. Either way, Dak, again, Prime said that he believes Dak is better than his performance on the field, and that he believes with Deion Sanders that Dak will still show his better side in the future. And I'm assuming this season in this scheme. But my question is this to Deion Sanders. How many more years are we going to give him? The future? We're 8 years in. So the future is now. It's been now. It's last year. And so I understand the scheme issue. And you look at the scheme. You look at, the best quarterback minds out there, analysts, the best people that know about this stuff, Baldinger, Ryan Baldy's, breakdowns and Kurt Warner, they all say it's the scheme that's fucking up this offense, including Dak. So I want to yell at Dak for this, but there's only so much Dak can do in this scheme. Now, I can yell at him for missing CeeDee Lamb, hell yeah, multiple times in that game, and that wasn't the first time this season. So that is on Dak. Dak's hand in the scheme is on Dak. But the bigger issue is still McCarthy's scheme right now, and it's not coming together.
Which
so
again
that's the
is
issue.
Really unfortunate for us in the sense of obviously it seems like McCarthy is going to be running our offense for the foreseeable future, but McCarthy might be, like you said, offensively moving his way out of a head coaching job. I
just can't deal with West Coast offense of 1983. I can't. I mean, that's what we're doing here, and that's what, fucking 40 years ago. Come on now. Get us a little more updated here, Mike McCarthy. Get some flavor in this bitch. It's bland. So anyways, look, the point is the Cowboys have made some moves today. Okay, and again, I will I do want to, I will be mentioning a couple more things about Dak Prescott here and this offense. I mean, actually, yeah, I'm going to do it right now. Luke Schoonmaker. All right? We're talking about Dak throwing the ball, but what about Luke Schoonmaker? We know we talked about yesterday how disappointed we are with Mozzie right now for the 5 weeks in the season. Same thing with Luke Schoonmaker. No production from any of our top 3 picks. Of course, Overshown is hurt. That's why he ain't going to show anything. But the thing about Luke Schoonmaker, I do want to say, just look back to Jason Witten as a possibility. Number 82, way back when. His rookie year. He finished his rookie year at 1 touchdown, which already Schoonmaker has. And he's 346 yards away from matching Jason Witten's first year, because Jason only got 347 receiving yards. Schoonmaker has 1 catch on 6 targets, 4 touchdowns, and 2 drops. All right? 1 touchdown for 1 yard. 1 catch for 1 touchdown for 1 yard. All ones across the board. So early still, can he get to 347 yards in his rookie year? That'd be Jason Witten-like for a rookie year. Again, tight end position has a little bit of a steeper learning curve than people give it credit for. Blocking, receiving, saying all these things. So we'll see how Schoonmaker progresses. But hey, this is a McCarthy pick. So let's get good blocker. But a second round pick, good blocker, second round pick. I would have liked to see like an Osiris Torrance in the fucking mix. You know what I mean? Who's doing great right now with Buffalo. Much love to Mark Hovsepian. Once again, dropping that J-Lou $2 holler right there for us, baby. What did the man say with his drop?
He said, "I'd rather get a prostate exam than watch this offense."
Oof, it does seem painful, I will say. Not just the prostate exam, but also this fucking offense. So I'm with you there, man. I'm just saying, oof. Not a good situation right now for this offense. And again, this is what scares me is that it takes a lot to you install an offense. It's hard to make full, life changing changes in the scheme. So how much are we going to see of this this offense kind of evolve? I don't know if we can. I hope there's time in the next 3 weeks, guys. I'm playing this week. The next week, a bye week, and another week before we play the Rams. I'm hoping that this week and the next 2 weeks, the 3 weeks here, we got something brewing for the future. We got to, or we were in trouble on offense. We're going to be in trouble the entire season on offense, especially if the defense fucks up in the beginning. The game's over from now on. That's the way I'm going to look at this. If the defense can't hold shit down the first quarter or so, we're going to get probably beaten pretty well, even against a bad team. Just saying. It's up to the defense to hold it together. McCarthy said that yesterday. I want to make sure I reiterate that because to me that is an important kind of factor to say that this is the way this team is built. Defense is the foundation of defense. If the foundation cracks, everything else falls with it. So, and again, is this a way of him blaming Dan Quinn over himself? I don't know. We'll see. Either way, guys, what do all these moves injury-wise mean for the Cowboys? It means we have to get a tight end moved up to this 53-man roster, and today we did that. The Cowboys signed from the practice squad to the active 53-man roster, number 84, Sean McEwen. Much love. Congrats to him. He earned it back.
Not surprising move, but also, a very pleasantly surprising move. Now, you know what I mean? Like, the Cowboys still kind of had the chance to, hold off on that if they maybe wanted to, but obviously they wanted to just go ahead and add him to the roster. I'm assuming some of the injuries, too, played into that.
There's a couple guys that went on IR as well, officially
that's what
today.
I'm saying. Like, those new roster spots that kind of opened up made that automatic space for him on the roster. I think before that, the Cowboys just didn't want to move on from anyone at the time. They were kind of waiting to let things play out a bit.
We know LVE. LVE we knew was going to be put on IR, but he was not officially put. He was not put on IR today.
Okay.
So, that spot still is going to be open is my point. But right now, we did put Peyton Hendershot on the injured reserve. So with Hendershot off the roster, on the IR, that means that now you move in Sean McEwen as our 53-man guy now, our third tight end. But think about this. He's our fifth tight end in reality. Because Hendershot's our third. You had John Stevens Jr., who's out for the year. Man, we are deep at tight end, but now we used up all our resources. We're down to 3. So let's see what happens. We do have one more in the practice squad, Princeton Fant. But I don't see him getting in any games anytime soon. Right now, McEwen is our number 3 tight end. I wonder if we will use another guy or not. I don't know if we'll elevate anybody like that. But On top of that, guys, that's 2 moves. Hendershot to IR. McEwen replaces him on the 53-man roster. Officially today, Rashaan Evans was signed to the practice squad. Remember, anyone can still pluck him, but he is now, I think he'll eventually be moved onto the 53-man roster. When we move LVE, do not be surprised if you see Rashaan Evans getting moved onto the 53-man roster. But the one guy also that can take that spot from LVE when that happens is Nashawn Wright. He right now, of course, like I said, the Cowboys officially announced it today. The 21-day window to return. If you don't return within those 21 days, he is out for the year. So he'll be back before the next 3 weeks or so, before that Rams game, let's say. So again, these moves clear practice squad spots. Okay, by moving up McEwen, it opens up practice squad spot. You move in there Rashaan Evans, right? So it's pretty simple, guys. It's like dominoes, right? Just domino effect going on here. Now, as far as practice was concerned, baby, Jerry Jones. He was there on the field today, guys, watching the team work. When the boss is on the field, everyone's got to be on their best. So Jerry Jones is made his way to the practice field, walking around today on Thursday. It was an outdoor practice, by the way. And then, again, the first one of this week it was usually Wednesdays, right? But today, because it's a Monday night game, it's pushed to Thursday. Tyron Smith. All right, when you look at the guys who was on the field, not on the field, Tyron Smith was not on the field, guys, when it came to the practice today. He was working in the weight room instead. On top of that, you ask about the other injured guys on this field. The guys that we kind of discussed earlier, specifically Kevontae Turpin. Was he on the field? His ankle injury, along with, listen, there's another one here, number 30, Wanye Thomas. Both of them, Kevontae Turpin and Wanye Thomas, were on the sideline working with the director of rehab, Britt Brown. So, we talked about maybe a little Wanye Thomas in the game. I don't know if he's going to... he's hurt. Did you know he was hurt? I didn't know he was hurt. So we didn't know Wanye Thomas was going to be banged up as well. We'll talk about what happened to him. But the other guy that's, Turpin on the rehab side as well, Nashawn Wright. 21-day window, now officially on the field after missing those first 5 weeks of that ankle injury he suffered in preseason. Nashawn Wright has 21 days to be activated off IR. He was on the field there working out. And I'm going to talk about one other guy here in a minute. But first, I got to talk about the man, Marco Sepien, who dropped that 5 on it.
Ooh,
$5 holla.
Mahalo once again to Mark. He said,
tell me. Hit me with it.
This is what pisses me off. So we lost a bunch of backup tight ends. We still have our starter. And with these receivers, running back, and quarterback, you simply pass more to the receivers. Just adapt.
Agreed. And we haven't been throwing that much to the tight ends either. Jerry Jones specifically said he didn't want to see CeeDee Lamb get the ball more. He wants to see the tight ends get the ball more. What? I'm with you there, Mark. But right now, no one's getting the ball. Because this offense scheme is very outdated and antiquated. It's just very old. And it ain't working for us right now. Not right now. So yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. And honestly, it's not like we're really losing. We still have Ferguson, who's to me, still our number 1 guy. Schoonmaker is supposed to be at least our number 2, right? Second rounder.
Yeah, so now he has a bigger opportunity to.
Yeah. Well, he'll get more snaps.
Considering all the
maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
he was already our number 2, right? So
yeah, he was. But I think now with the situation, even if he gets the same number of snaps, maybe a few more, I think it's more the role that he's going to be occupying on offense. Like you said, before he was like the number 2. There's a little bit of an asterisk next to that too. Now it feels like it's fully like he's number 2. Here you go. That's the guy. Yeah,
and whether or not that's going to be the case, or maybe they give him expanded role, I didn't see him do anything in his expanded role against the Niners. So, and that's our number 2 tight end. It's McEwen did his job. He's a blocker for the most part as our number 3. So I'm just saying, like, it's not really we're losing guys that could have stepped in there, but how much would they have seen? How much would Hendershot would have seen if he was not in? If he made the difference in the game for us? No. John Stevens Jr., he's the difference maker in this offense? No. So we still got our 1 and 2 guys in there. So there's no excuses about those tight ends or the receivers or anybody. Mike McCarthy, though, he's saying it still takes time to get this new system overhaul done, and he told us it was 20 or 30%. So one last guy I wanted to touch on here, on the field at least, where we touch on him a little more, is this guy, Rashaan Evans. He has been chosen to wear number 57 right now. Now, 57 for the Cowboys. I'll put him up. You'll see him a little later here, but he's going to speak. But he already said, baby, he's going to go from 57 to his college number at Alabama, which is number 32. So linebackers, we got 33 out there. Damone Clark, 32 will be his number eventually. Probably when he gets to the 53-man roster, he's going to be number 32, his number he wore in Alabama when he was with them. So Rashaan Evans in the field, and we talked about the guys that were there and not there. How about the injuries? Well, we had about 17 guys on our injured list today, guys. I'm going to go with the ones that are kind of, I guess, popped up a little more. Tony Pollard, shoulder injury. He spoke today, so maybe we'll hear about this, but he was limited in practice. So we got what's up with the shoulder? Is that a vet day? Wanye Thomas, we saw him on the sideline rehabbing. Hamstring is his deal, guys. And Kavontae Turpin. Also, of course, we knew his ankle. Officially listed as did not practice. Kind of expected that. Stephon Gilmore, DeMarcus Lawrence, Zach Martin, Jonathan Hankins, Tyron Smith, and more had a veteran day. Had a rest day. Lots of veterans today had a rest day. That's the new normal, guys, for these Wednesday. I know it's Thursday, but it's our first practice. So it's our Wednesday practices this one time because of the Monday night game. It's a Thursday practice. But that first practice of the week is going to be vet days for the older guys there. For the, nothing else is really unexpected, guys. The positives, Tyler Biadasz, got a little banged up, and Donovan Wilson. Both of them were full practice today. So I'm really happy about Donovan Wilson being full blast. It looks like both these guys will have no problem getting on that field. Donovan Wilson on offense, defense. Donovan Wilson on defense, and of course our center Tyler Biadasz at the offensive side of the ball. So that's good news. I'll go through a couple other names, but first we got to talk about this name, Mark Hovsepian, our sponsor of the week, 2 weeks in a row, back to back like our '90s Cowboys, and also he's currently in the lead on the overall board right now. So
that's right. Huge shout out to Mark.
Yep, Mark Hovsepian.
You know what he said?
Tell me. Let me know.
San Francisco plays Purdy over Trey Lance. You play the best player.
I agree.
Regardless of their pay. But Jerry Jones does not get this.
He did
it with Zeke and now possibly with Sam Williams, right?
We have Sam Williams for at least another 2 years to see how he blows up, right? And then Jerry Jones will bitch about how he can't pay Sam Williams. But that's the way the Joneses do shit. And I agree with Mark 100% here. This is the problem with the front office. It's about the money, is who gets paid, who plays, and the setup for the future. That's why I worry for CeeDee Lamb, because I know he wants to get paid, right? He wants to get that money he deserves. But Jerry Jones is like, I don't care who you throw the ball to. It doesn't really matter to me. I want to see the tight ends get the ball. When he was asked about CeeDee Lamb, he goes, nah, I want to see the tight ends get the ball more. He might be doing this with CeeDee Lamb as well, lowballing him for a future contract deal. And no matter what CeeDee Lamb gets paid, even if he gets paid over than what we expected him to get paid, guess what? Jerry Jones is going to probably say he would have got paid more if I didn't kind of lowball him throughout the season. It just bothers me. That's the way we play games. I'm used to it already, Mark, but I'm with you. I'm annoyed and aggravated about that. Mark dropped another 5 on it, fully loaded on that stream, boss. What did the man have to say? Holy, from Hawaii, dropping bombs of knowledge.
He said, literally every other TV show I watch says the same thing. The O is predictable, same plays as the 90s. Sam's disappeared, and 23 draft is a 0. Some clowns.
We've been talking about the clowns, talking about the situation this year, and again, I would say the clowns have been less clowny than usual, but they still put their big fat fucking fingerprints all over shit, right? Some things they do and it's good, some things they want to do because they gotta. If we can't control the McCarthy kind of brainchild now that it's become from Kellen Moore to McCarthy, because they had some control over Kellen Moore, but McCarthy not so much. If they can't do that, we'll control how often these guys play. CeeDee Lamb, Sam Williams. We had the issue with Zeke last. I'm just saying, yeah, I'm with you, Mark. Trust me, it's frustrating. It's our star, it's our team, it's our representation, this fucking Jerry Jones. And the influence, whoever it's coming from, whoever's doing it, the influence is there still. But there's only so far you can run from that. It's got to be somehow done, improved when it comes to this coaching staff. I mean, when Mike McCarthy got there and shits the bed, now Jerry Jones is going to say, see, let's do it my way again. And that's the problem, that we just lost some tread against this front office because of the Mike McCarthy fuck-up. And that's the biggest fuck-up in my mind so far. So, the other injuries here, Marquise Bell, linebacker, shoulder injury, full practice. Talked about Biadasz already. Damone Clark has a shoulder injury, but like I said, guys, like last week, limited in practice. he should be good to go for this game. You got Neville Gallimore also, by the way, knee issue. He was limited in crack. Oh, what's up? 187, like the mother. What's up, man? Much love. Appreciate you. Welcome.
Thank you for summing it up.
Welcome to the family. 187 in the house. So appreciate you. Again, like I was saying, guys, Damone Clark, Neville Gallimore, both of them were limited. CJ Goodwin, of course, he's still on the list, but he's on the IR. He's done. So that's going to open up another spot on the 53. What's his name? Malik Hooker had a shoulder, full practice. Good news there. DeMarcus Lawrence, Zach Martin, of course, they had a rest day. Pollard limited. Tyron Smith also has a rest day, but they also listed Tyron Smith with the knee. We know he's going to be all right when he gets back on there. Again, no practice for Wanye Thomas. Cavante Turpin, of course, LVE still listed on here with the neck concussion, but he'll be going on an IR as well. Donovan Wilson, safety, ankle, full practice. That's good news. Hey, Nashawn Wright, full practice for a guy still on the injured reserve. So that's a good news there. Still not on the official 53. He's on the 21-day window to come back. So that's the breakdown there on the injury. A lot of injured guys. Most of these guys rest days. Most of these guys, we know they're going to be gone anyways. They're out for the year. They're out for at least 4 weeks. They're going to be put on IR. So you got a lot of these things going to clear up as we keep going. But, I want to kind of focus in, I want to talk about the situation with our linebacking core. And I want to kind of stick with that.
Which is honestly right now, crazy enough.
Yeah.
The biggest, what the heck are we about to do here? Again, we always knew that the linebacker depth was like super, super thin. But now that we're down LVE, and not just for maybe one game, now that we're down LVE for very possibly 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh, definitely 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Now, I know it's pretty much guaranteed now with the 4 weeks and the IR and all that, but just saying that if that's the expectation now, we can't just get by with figuring out what we have on our roster and just making something work. We do need a more short-term and long-term solution.
So, as we face these Chargers, and I'm going to break down their offense versus our Big D, who's been shit in the bed right now recently. We're going to talk about this in detail here shortly in about 5 or 10 minutes. But, baby, you have to break down some very important quotes from some of our players on offense and on defense. We'll stick with the defense today only. How about that? And then we'll go with the offense tomorrow. Some of the guys that spoke. Of course, Mike will probably speak tomorrow on a couple guys on defense. But mostly tomorrow will be offensive people that we will hear from. Because we're talking about our offense tomorrow versus their defense. Tonight, we're talking about our defense versus their offense. And my issue is but my questions are at linebacker. And they both spoke today. Our probable eventual starting linebackers spoke today. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, baby, Marco Sepien dropping that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on it.
That's right.
Much love to him as he still continues his lead and the back-to-back domination on the stream as the overall leader. Much love to him.
He said,
yeah, what did he say?
Only a clown show would want to get the ball to Ferg and Peyton and Luke over CD, Cook, and Gallup. Okay, so you had to pay Dak his money, fine, but why not a trade and tag clause?
Well, okay, the trade and tag, that's not, I'm not going to put that on the clowns. That is the every quarterback that gets a franchise type deal, let's put it that way. Franchise quarterback, they all get the same, the top 16 quarterbacks in the NFL right now have a no trade, no tag clause. So that's not the clown show. They don't want to do it. Trust me. These guys, that's the last thing they wanted to be able to allow to do. But because that is the way it is now, every other quarterback, better and worse than Dak Prescott, in the top 16 in the league probably, they all have this no trade, no tag clauses. So that's almost written into every top quarterback, every top half of the league's quarterbacks' contracts. You know what I mean? So let's keep that in mind. That's not on them. But what was the rest of that? How do you feel about the rest of that comment, baby?
So, realistically speaking, again, remember, when it comes to contracts, both sides have to agree. And at the time, the Cowboys also had a vested interest in keeping Dak long-term, and Dak had a vested interest in being here long-term. So, to me, there was only one way that was ever going to work out. The biggest mistake is that the Cowboys just waited too damn long.
Now paying too damn much. Although that is probably, right now, any quarterback that's at Dak's level probably gets $42 million right now. So I guess you could say Dak's getting paid what he's worth right now, but he needs to play better, and the scheme needs to get better. It's just plain and simple. So, baby, back to the defense, because we're going to match up against this team. We're going to talk about the matchups a little bit. Not matchups, but really, I always like to investigate what this other team, what our opponent has, that we have to kind of look at in general, like the known names and the not known names. So it gives me a better chance to kind of break down the matchups and keys to victory. This week, usually it's on Friday or Saturday. This week is Saturday, Sunday, right? So we're going to do that later on in the week. But we're going to talk about the Chargers on offense versus our defense. But baby, let's talk about the two defensive guys that are at the center of things who spoke today. And that's Rashaan Evans and, of course, Damone Clark. Now, I'm going to start with Damone Clark. Because Damone Clark, guys, to me, he's the only starter left on that field of our two linebacker spots. LVE, bloop, gone. Now you got number 33, Damone Clark, who now has to step up and not really play the off-ball linebacker spot, although he may have to do that. He's going to definitely take a lot more snaps now. He went last year from going as a guy who didn't know he was going to play last year to taking over from basically Anthony Barr's snaps. Now coming into a starting role here with the defense next to LV, now takes over basically LV. He's going to get a lot more snaps. Is he ready for this shit? I'm worried about the linebacking core. They can they can attack this running back, these linebackers. What did Damone Clark say today about this whole situation at linebacker for him?
So, first of all, Damone Clark said that, it hurts, right? The loss of LVE is not just as easy to get past, and especially for him, he does feel like he is ready, right? He said, quote, "The only way to get the bad taste out of our mouths is to go kick somebody else's ass."
I agree with that.
So there's like a variety of like I said, the bad taste was like compounded between the bad performance and the injuries and everything else going on. So Clark definitely has some interestingly big shoes to fill, I guess you could say. Now, adding in there, of course, LVE, huge part of everything we're doing here, and huge part for Clark, right, who's been under LVE, adding in their quote, "When I got here last year, it was a big family here, man. Having a guy like Leighton, having him sit in my rehab session, that meant a lot to me. Dude, I just met you. He had the same surgery I had, and Leighton used to tell me, oh, that's just step one. You're going to go move on to step here. And every day, early in the morning, he didn't have to do that. He could have been doing something else. But he sat in my rehab sessions." So, I have to admit, very, very cool of LVE, right? Like, he really took that leadership role upon himself in a big way, and I guess I'm sorry for him. His linebacker core is basically him, Clark, and a bag of potato chips. But it's still really cool, and obviously they are very close. Adding in there, Clark said that's a guy, he does everything the right way, and
that's an LVE,
LVE, yes. Adding in there, Leighton takes care of his body. I look up to him. He knows the defense in and out. Leighton helped me with everything. During the game, if he would help me or correct me, oh yeah, he's going to do it.
Hey, LV is a great teacher. Maybe he'll be a coach one day. But right now, he was a little slow this year and getting to those holes and plugging them. Again, we talked about him being managed properly by Dan Quinn, so LV could last longer through a year. So much managing you can do when you have to. You have two linebackers and you got a lot of different options. But now you're losing those options, and now you have more options lost with LV gone. So, yeah.
Really unfortunate. So, but Clark obviously added in there too, I know what I can do. I'm just thankful that I've got the chance. I get an opportunity to play the game that I love. I've been wanting to play in the NFL since I started at the age of 5. I'm 23 years old now, and I just thank God every day when I wake up.
Well, again, very good to hear that, but at the same time, now he's got to step in some real big shoes for LVE. And just, I would say this, as a starter, bona fide, not just a part-time starter, rotational guy, certain down, and now he's a starter. Now he's full-time style. Now, how long before he gets a little help out there? And I'm talking about this guy, Rashaan Evans. Rashaan Evans, guys, now he's number 57. He's going to be number 32 like he was in Alabama. This was back last year with the Falcons. Let me reiterate. 100 and I think it was 151 tackles last year, was it? 151 tackles last year, total tackles. He was 10th best in solo tackles, 4th best in assisted tackles, and started all 17 games for the Atlanta Falcons last season. So that's the kind of guy we're dealing with here. Is he ready for football? I got to ask these questions. I hope they asked him. Let me know, baby, what was asked. Because he spoke today, front and center, coming into a huge role, currently on the practice squad. My question is, when will he be elevated? Will he be elevated this week and then be able to full-time 53 it next week? We're going to wait until LVE gets moved to the injured reserve, and then we move him from the practice squad onto the 53-man roster? Interesting questions to have determinations here, but you tell me, baby, what did Rashaan Evans say today about repping that star and his role here with the Cowboys at linebacker?
He said, at the end of the day, it's all about the coach's decision as far as what they want to do schematically. I'm trying to take it as slow as possible. It's always a preparation situation when coming from being on the couch to full-fledged football. I'm actually enjoying the process of getting back to work and doing the little things to prepare for a game.
So the way I'm reading into that, I don't know the whole thing yet, but he might feel good. He might be ready to kind of play some football, but he knows he still has to acclimate from the couch or from, the couch. He's probably been working out, but from not being in actual football shape right now, 100%, to getting there, as soon as possible. Which tells me this week, what? He ain't playing. And that's my view. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm saying that for that comment tells me he'll be back. Maybe he'll be playing with number 32 and that star in his helmet when we're there, baby. Our first game there in Dallas. Maybe it's a big, but it's. I think our first game this year in Dallas.
I know.
First time for the kids. It might be that Rams game in a couple of weeks after the bye week. You can bet your asses he'll be ready to go by then at the very latest. So that's what we're looking at here. We'll be seeing number 32 on the field. Maybe it'll be much needed help we'll need there as a middle linebacker. He ain't no Jabril Cox style. He's not no Devin Harper style. He's not Damone Clark style or Marquise Bell. No, this guy is a LVE style. And I'm not gonna say he's better than LVE because I got to see this guy play, but he might. It depends how he fits in the scheme and how fast he picks it up. But his nose for the ball is obviously accurate and true.
Yeah. Because
he's been doing a stellar job when he's able to get out there and play as a starter, as a middle linebacker, as an off-ball linebacker, and that's exactly what we're missing right now. So I'm having high hopes for him, but not this week. I'm having high hopes for him maybe the Rams and beyond. So anyways, baby, continue. I'm sorry.
It's all good. So now Rashaan Evans was kind of asked, like, hey, what do you personally bring to the table that's, like, unique to you, right? He said physicality.
We need that.
So I gave it its emphasis it deserved, right? He said, I try not to be too savvy in my words about my play. I try to leave it up to what I've shown on TV, but I can't wait for that opportunity to come.
So baby, this is the reverse of DeMarcus Lawrence. Like, he don't want to talk about it. He just shows you. I love that. That's a good start with me. As far as me, as a fan, I'm in this guy. And I've been talking about this guy in the offseason. I like his attitude already day one. I like it. It's better than half the fucking defense's attitude. Guys like DeMarcus Lawrence, sometimes they talk and there's no actual splash action on the field.
So, that's all right. I'm going to go ahead and keep rolling here. Yeah. So, he did add in there, it's absolutely important, especially for the young guys. I try to give them advice about my own career and about preparing for the game and the standard that comes with the game. Just have patience with yourself. As soon as I got into the facility, they were already asking, like, oh, why were you out? I told them, that's just the league, man. It's a business at the end of the day, so make sure you're prepared at all times.
So what do you think about that? Do you think
he thought he was going to get fired for some reason, too.
I feel like, there's a red flag in him coming to Dallas and saying, hey, why didn't anybody else pick you up? Why did the Eagles dropping you after 4 days in the practice squad? So I don't know if he gave an answer there, but...
he said, according to him, he said, I told him, it's just a league, man. It's a business at the end of the day. Make sure you're prepared at all times. And, so he just kind of gave a very generic answer. And he's not wrong by saying, it's the NFL. It's just a business. It's just how shit happens.
No, but I thought it was more of a maybe he had like choices and that kind of stuff, or maybe he could pick where he wanted to go.
Well, I know that, again, at least for him, and he didn't like necessarily straight up say, like, he wasn't like quoted saying this, but Patrick Walker did kind of mention that, Rashaan Evans implied that, he was perfectly content waiting for the right fit, right? So, because I remember there was a few questions throughout the week, like, hey, why is Rashaan Evans still available, right? And the biggest point that came back was because he wanted to be, right? I'm just saying, it seems like the interest from teams was high throughout the last 2 weeks, and he just was waiting for the right call from the right team and the right situation,
but let me ask you a question.
He wants to actually contribute. He doesn't just want to be like a second, third guy. Like, he actually wanted to be a starter. Now,
let me say something here. Practice squad of the Eagles, he's on our practice squad. What I'm trying to say is he's not getting any, it's not about the money, because he's getting, it's not like he's looking for the money, because he's getting paid practice squad money with the Eagles and practice squad money with the Cowboys. So that's bullshit if he's saying it's something like that. To me, it's more, he wanted to choose not just for best opportunity, but maybe, not just to win a Super Bowl, but also best opportunity to get to play. The Eagles are having some issues at the linebacker, but he was cut from there, whatever. Maybe they had off-ball linebackers. We don't. So that's maybe a reason for this. Him with us here as a Cowboy, he's going to get moved into the 53 probably eventually. He'll put on the 53-man roster. And I'm curious to know, like, we have to see him actually get on this team and make it and see what he can do before we can say anything that he can handle LVE's spot. You know what I mean? But waiting for the right place, I guess you can say with the Cowboys, when you look at us, there's no linebackers here. If you're a linebacker, this is the place you want to play. So I can't really talk shit about his comment, because it's actually true as well. I mean, the Cowboys will give any guy off the street, a linebacker off the street, the best chance to make this team with the very little depth we have. We have Damone Clark and Malik Jefferson as true bona fide linebackers. You can say our safeties. You can say Marquise Bell. But let's just talk about pure linebackers. Damone Clark and Malik Jefferson. Now we have another bona fide, definite, linebacker, and his name is Rashaan Evans. So, anyways, I don't know if he said anything else in there. But I know
he did add a little bit more.
But I know we have Mr. Marco Seppian dropping that 1-2 J. Lou dollar holler.
Woo.
What did the man say?
Maybe he will play. Didn't he play with Quinn?
I don't think. No, I'm pretty sure he was with Tennessee in 2018 when he was drafted there. He was there for a couple of years. By that time, Quinn's out of the league. Well, he was not. He was with the Cowboys a couple of years later. He was out in 2020, right? I don't think he played with Quinn. Nothing I saw connected him with Dan Quinn. The point being here is that if he was with Quinn, it was probably for 5 games until Quinn got fired, or 6 games, whenever he got fired. My point is that he's a guy that has played with the Falcons last year, 17 starts last year in all 17 games, 110 solo tackles, 49, or I think it was 49, yeah, 49, and that's, by the way, top 10 for solo tackles, 49 tackles, assisted tackles, and then overall, like over 150 tackles. That's fantastic combined. So we'll see if it's just he's bullshitting us, or the league just didn't need as many off-ball linebackers this year so far. So, anyways, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I can't wait to see what happens. Now, baby, what happens with his comments today? As you were finishing up what Mr. Rashaan Evans was talking about.
So he had it in there. It's absolutely important, especially for the young guys. I try to give him advice about my own career, prepping for the game, and the standard that comes with the game. Just have patience with yourself. As soon as I got into the facility, they were already asking, like, oh, why were you out? And I told him it's just a league, man. I know I just read that comment. I just wanted to go over it again since I think I got kind of stopped halfway through. He said, I told him it's just a league, man. It's a business at the end of the day. Make sure you're prepared at all times.
So give him some veteran influence. Again, he's been in the league the same amount of years as LV.
Yeah. And going back, like I said, Rashaan Evans was looking for not just the right, team or whatever, the right fit. And he said he couldn't say yes fast enough when the Cowboys called him, saying it means a lot for the Cowboys to see something in me and bring me on board. It's an exciting moment for me. It won't take me too much to get up to speed. I've been training all season to be a part of someone's team, and now that I have an opportunity to be a part of the Cowboys, I'm ready whenever they're ready. So he also kind of made jokes saying, like, shit, I could play this week. I could play right now. So, and again, no one's doubting his physical ability to play, but obviously, schematically, maybe take an extra day or two. I wouldn't completely rule it out, though, considering we have a Monday game. Just saying.
That's true. We got an extra day right there. That's true.
Like, even if he's... even if he's active, but he just, plays, a super limited amount of snaps or something, I could easily see the Cowboys doing that.
We'll see. No, looking forward to see what he can bring.
I still think it's unlikely, though. Anyway, he also added in there that there's some added motivation for him. Because he said, it's funny to have an opportunity to play for the Cowboys. Because my mom loves them, and my family loves them. They're very excited for me to be a part of this organization.
Always that star, always that star. So,
hey, that's the way you want it. So
everyone's family is a Cowboy family. They get picked up by us.
Exactly. And again, Evans added in there, they were definitely one of the teams, as in the Cowboys, that I would love to play for. And it's funny how things come full circle. To be able to have the opportunity now to come and play for the Cowboys, as soon as they made that call, I immediately got on the plane. So he obviously is a bit of a fan of our Cowboys.
You know, I do see like Michael Aldana saying that when it came to the Eagles, he wouldn't have made the roster with the Eagles because of what they already have. But why did he take that job? Why did he sign with the Eagles if it was going to be a real long shot to make that team or to get in there and get an opportunity? So, you know, I'm just saying, like, there's that in the back of my head that worries me there. And by the way, I see that some people reminding us which is the player that I think that was drafted and taken there by Dan Quinn. It was Deion Jones. Good catch there. I just wanted to say real quick, again, I also got to add there a linebacker, our best linebacker, Micah Parsons. So there is another linebacker there, and he will be used to take a lot of those snaps. But you'll have Damone Clark, you'll have Malik Jefferson, you're going to have, of course, Marquise Bell, and you're going to have, eventually, this guy, Rashaan Evans, as other options at linebacker, along with Curse and you know, Donovan Wilson to be that hybrid linebacker safety kind of role. So we do have enough linebackers now, but a lot of the depth kind of fell out on us here. We got to see and hope that these, knock on wood, that these other guys like Malik Jefferson and Rashaan Evans can pick up the slack for us.
So, kind of touching on the rest of what Evans had to say, obviously the loss this past Sunday didn't do us any favors, but he added in there, I still think this is an elite defense. Anywhere that I can try to fit in and help out, that's what I'm here to do.
Huh. Well, that's what you're going to be needed to do. Off-ball linebacker, middle linebacker, heat seeker. He did this last year for 17 games. Should do it this year for us. Eventually.
Yeah, he also added in there to get back into that groove of football. I'm missing as much time as I have. I want to try and get the pads on as soon as possible. Get your feel for making tackles, get your feel for being in the zone coverage, and doing all the stuff that you normally do as a football player. So,
I'm all in on him right now. I mean, we have to hope he's the again. I am not. It's not like I'm saying it from left field. You know, I gotta again reiterate that literally 2 weeks before training camp, I was saying let's give this guy a shot to just to fill in the depth we might have issues with. You know, we had lost Overshown already. I'm like, this guy would be a good guy to bring in. Cowboys didn't call him. The Eagles called him, had him 4 days, let him go, and he's still sitting there waiting. So we got him now, a lot later than I thought, right? But you go back a couple weeks before training camp, I'm like, let's bring this guy in. Oh, it's not training camp, a couple weeks before the season started. I'm like, you want to? I said it before training camp. I said it before the season started. Even earlier, I think I said if you want to look at a linebacker, he's an option as well. I would look into Rashaan Evans. Let's see what this turns out. He's not going to be the savior, but he can help us. And that's major for a specific job of off-ball middle linebacker. So, any other things he said, baby?
I think that was it. Let me see here. Let me just double check because I think we already read that comment about the elite defense, right?
I don't think so.
Okay, so let me go ahead and just repeat myself just in case, right? He said, I still think this is an elite defense. Anywhere I can try to fit in and help out, that's what I'm going to do.
Oh, yeah, you did say that, yeah.
Okay, so yeah. So then, yeah, that's what I thought. Missing as much time as I have, I want to try and get pads on as soon as possible, get my feel for making tackles. Yeah, I was going to say, I did read
that's that. Good, though. Even as we're saying it, he's ready to get back in there sooner than later. I expect him by the Rams game, after our bye. You got now basically 2.5 weeks. He's definitely going to play that Rams game. He's definitely going to be on the 53, I think.
Oh, yeah. And the final things that he had to say, I have a lot of confidence in myself. I've played a lot in the league so far, so whenever I was going to get picked up to play, I knew I was going to be ready.
Well, there you go. He's ready. He's saying, let's get it on. Any other? I want to hear from the chat because they have a couple comments here I think good, worth touching on. And then we're going to kind of get to this Charger-Cowboys situation here. We'll wrap it up with that.
Let me see. Oh, no, Retro Scotty. I hope you feel better. Let me see. Thomas Garrett said, I remember Rashaan Evans when he played Alabama.
Yep, number 32. That's going to be his number, by the way, with the Cowboys, number 32.
I know. It's going to be kind of nice to see it.
32 and 33, Damone Clark.
So Pioneer said, Evans obviously has an issue we'll likely discover soon.
That is a great comment by Pioneer.
That is my fear.
That's my expectation, believe it or not.
Okay, but right now, do we have any evidence to back that up, right? Because like I said, as far as we know, several teams were interested in Rashaan Evans, and he just happened to wait until the right team landed in front of him. And again, we know it's not the money. We know it's not all these other things, so...
I just think that, I think that's something that maybe he's telling us. I wonder how true it is. And again, it's definitely not the money because, well, it is the money. He wants the money. But it's about practice squad on the Eagles, practice squad on the Cowboys. It's the same difference. Why would you take the Eagles one when you can't even make that? You know you're not going to make that team. Here, I can understand why he takes the Cowboys. We got almost zero linebackers here, right? So no depth. So, yeah, for that specific linebacker role, we are limited there. And he's going to help us there. That's the reason I know why we got him, but why nobody else get him? Like Pioneer said, might happen later. We might find out later. Any other quick comments, or we're gonna any other remaining comments from the chat and a quote or two from any injury quotes from the offense? I guess I would say that'd be the best thing. I know some guys spoke, but we'll touch on those guys tomorrow. Was there any? Again, you can hit the quotes up and then.
I'm trying to read the chat here. Let me see. OVE took notes from Sean Lee. Honestly, Mike, no, it's just, when it comes to the injury situation, maybe a little too many notes, right? But when it comes to, like, the accountability and the leadership, the mentorship, helping these guys, the hard work ethic, those are all definitely things that Sean Lee helped LVE develop and establish, which is nice. So, let's say, Williams, what's up? Much love.
Thomas Garrett, again, brings this up as well. He requested his release in Philly, so maybe that did have something to do with the fact that he knew there was nobody going to battle up through their depth. Even the practice squad to their 53, it was going to be real tough for him.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. And Thomas Garrett said he requested his release in Philadelphia. So again, it was.
I just literally said that. Yes.
It's more about the fact that it was not like he sucked and things are going horrible or whatever. Like, he wanted to move on.
Yeah, but the reason he moves
still
on
has
is
something to contribute.
But the reason he's moving on is because he won't get as many opportunities in games or elevations moving up into a game to actually be shown on TV to do something big and he thinks he can do, and that's going to give him a big contract later. Get him a big contract here sooner than later.
Look, whether it's short
first round pick,
and you know what, if it's long term, then the more the merrier. But if it is just a short-term thing, like, hey, I want to be with the Cowboys for this year, what better way to get the most eyes on me as humanly possible? And then after that, we go our separate ways because it's, we're cool.
The Cowboys called him, but it's the star, but it's more than that. It's the fact that he's going to have an easier time to get through one or two guys to get to the starting role than 4 or 5 guys in the Eagles. He's going by the numbers. He's being smart about it. So good. It just happened. Things worked out, and we lost enough linebackers that he now becomes a need now, and that's why we got him on the team. So hopefully, again, I agree with you guys. A hitting machine that Thomas Garrett said. I saw a retro saying that he looked great on film, and I did watch the film. He does look very good. This is last year's film, so I gotta still see it to believe it. But if he's doing what he did last year, then he may help this team a lot this season, especially with LVE gone. So. Again, I was asking if there's any of your quotes from the offensive players today that were dealing on injury specifically. Everything else we can wait.
All right. Let me go ahead and double check that. But while I do that, guys, make sure to take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all social media at MyCowboysFamily, and hop in the Discord. The link for that's in the description box down below.
Ooh.
So, on the injury side of things, no.
The only guy who was banged up today that's on offense of note, really of real note, is Tony Pollard. I know he spoke today. So, yeah, Pollard, just keep an eye on that when we talk about tomorrow, our offense versus their defense.
Yeah, he didn't mention anything about the injury specifically.
What did he say?
But he did just kind of mention the mindset from this week, kind of like, I hate to say it, but yeah, moving on from that L, he said guys are not panicking, not trying to do too much, not going haywire and things like that. Locking in and focusing up, blocking out the distractions, and just getting ready for this week.
Well, there you go. We got Tony Pollard. We're going to say that for tomorrow. We did it tonight. That's all he really said today, I think.
Yeah,
so.
That's why I said that he just added that in there.
So,
and I just wanted to read this one tiny little thing because it was not really as relevant, but I just thought it was kind of cute. The Ferguson, because he sent like a little text to Dak saying, "I'm with you till the wheels fall off" after this Sunday's loss, which I just just a really nice little showing of team. Team camaraderie. He added in there. He's in that leadership role. It's my job to follow him, run through a brick wall if he tells me to. And honestly, to me, it's just more about the fact that with our current tight end situation being as not great as it is, I do think that Ferguson is one of those guys that has to step it up. So for him to basically just like fully be behind Dak, I think that's a positive thing for the team moving forward, regardless of whatever Dak is or isn't. Right?
Right. Seeing it
has nothing to do with Dak.
Seeing it from Ferguson saying this. Just unites the team, but it just basically it shows the team, hey, we are going to all fight for Dak on this. And not only that, look, whether you like him or not as a fan or whatever it may be, the team must be able to follow him through a brick wall, and that's what Ferguson's kind of doubling down on, and that's great to hear for the team moving forward. Now, moving forward from the offense, let's talk about our defense versus the Chargers. And the Chargers, guys, let me just throw in a couple things here. Their injury list is kind of long, too, after a bye week, surprisingly. But it's really, they're in good shape, guys. First and foremost, Justin Herbert has not taken any snaps under center in practice this week. And he doesn't expect to take any snaps under center this entire week. And the reason is, of course, he has that left finger injury. Full practice today on the injury report. So he's going to be good to go, guys. Just keep that in mind. But they don't want to add any kind of extra issues by taking snaps under center if they don't need to do that in practice.
Which, again, makes sense.
But I'm just going to say this. In the game, if he takes any snaps from under center, this always happens, it seems, when teams don't practice it the whole week. That fumble happens. That miss.
You jinxed it.
I jinxed it.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying. No. I'm saying I jinxed it in the sense that usually
Cowboys jinx themselves.
Yeah, I hope that they are able to recover the fumble when it happens this week. I'm going to say it. So again, Justin Herbert. Again, he said it's not going to stop him from going under center. But probably most of the game he will not be under center. But if he's under center, I'm going to watch that ball. God damn it. So again, Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, Derwin James. These three guys are banged up, bruised up. All of them were full participants in practice today. On the list, Joey Bosa was not at practice. He did not participate in practice, guys. But he did not show up on the injury. Oh, there we go. Manuel Palomares.
Palomares.
I'm sorry.
Thank you for summing it up. Appreciate you.
Welcome to the family. And go Cowboys. So, I'm sorry. I'm going to kind of say this here. But Joey Bosa, although on the list right now, guys, did not practice today. He has that toe injury still. He was on the field, and he did participate in practice, even though they list him as didn't practice. So if you're wondering if he's going to play, a lot of people are saying he might not play this. He's playing. I feel, and I'm bringing it on. He's going to go against Terrence Steele. We'll talk about that a little bit more as well. So him going up against Joey Bosa against Terrence Steele tomorrow, we're going to discuss that battle for sure. And Bosa is going to be back, in my opinion. It's the first time he's been at the Chargers practice since before. I think it was before that Week 3 game against the Vikings when he got hurt. So, good to see him back on the field, ready for us. Again, even though he was not practicing today, technically. Tight end Donald Parham Jr., the backup tight end. Wrist issue. Again, looks like he has a brace on his right hand at practice. So now we know, their tight end situation might be a little bit light as well as ours, obviously. And basically a lot of names on this list, but the health is overall good. The bye week helped them get ready for this week. And they had their bye week last week. So, Bosa did not practice. Austin Eckler, full practice, ankle. Safety, Alohi Gilman, the heel, did not practice. Justin Herbert, of course, full practice. Derwin James, full practice. He had a hamstring issue. Full practice for him. Defensive back, Deanne Leonard, hamstring limited. Khalil Mack got a veteran day today. He did not practice. Parham, like I said, was limited with the wrist. And two offensive tackles, Trey Pipkins on one side, shoulder issue, full practice. Rashawn Slater, ankle issue on the other side of tackle, full practice. So they're going to be good to go, guys, even though there's a lot of names here. And we're going to get ready for them, in the matchup side of things more tomorrow. But today, I do want to look at one matchup when it comes to our team, and that is, and again, we're looking at their offense. Let's throw them on the screen here. You see Kellen Moore and the rest of those guys there. Talk about them in a minute. But the guy I'm looking at here even more so, is someone named Dan Quinn. And how he's going to kind of battle Mr. Kellen Moore in this thing here. Okay, they've been practicing together for 2 years. They should know each other, specifically my guy here, Dan Quinn. So not much has changed for Kellen Moore in this offense in general, as far as what the Cowboys are used to seeing. So now let me say this, baby. The Chargers rank 4th and they rank 7th in the NFL with 388 yards per game and 27.5 points per game. 4th and 7th on these two things. Very good. Top 10 on offensive numbers here. Those ranks are accomplished, by the way, without this guy. Number 30, Austin Eckler. He missed the last 3 games out of their 4. So he's going to be, again, Kellen Moore is going to be he looks like he's going to be back for this game. Kellen Moore's play calling is going to be, have to be respected by Dan Quinn. But we got to know what he's doing. The battle between him and Quinn will determine the pace of this game. Kellen Moore is going to be out there trying to look for a little bit of revenge against this Cowboy team for cutting him, for firing him. And more than likely, he's going to try to replicate some of the things that Kyle Shanahan with the Niners did, and even the Cardinals over there, what they did to us. So they're going to probably try. Kellen Moore's probably going to use some of what they did to us last week against this Dan Quinn defense. And already knows us better than most, Kellen Moore. The Cowboys, though, let me just say one quick thing. The Cowboys are allowing an average of 164 passing yards on the road. That is the 3rd least in the NFL. That means we're dominating on the road at stopping passing yards. But the Chargers, if you look at their side of things, they are throwing for an average of only 175 passing yards. It's Kellen Moore's offense. 175 passing yards is what they've done. That's the 6th fewest in the NFL. So Dan Quinn's defense can stop the pass. Kellen Moore's offense, so for some reason, they're not throwing that. They're not able to get more than 175 yards in the air per game. So let's hopefully we keep that going, and Kellen Moore will have a fucking 400-yard game against us here. Because a lot of those yards coming from something else. Calvin Richard dropping that 5 on it. Woo. Much love to Calvin Richard in the house. What did the man say?
I hear that linebacker is the downhill physical type that we need.
Yep, he's an off-ball middle linebacker that's basically needs to get the tackles. And I said this already. I'm going to say it again. Probably say it all week. Top 10 guy last year in solo tackles in Rashaan Evans. He's a top 4 guy in assisted tackles. I don't know where he is on the list of things, but he got over 150 tackles last year with the Falcons, assisted and total. I think he had 110 or 111 of solo tackles. That's top 10. And he had, I think, 49 assisted tackles, which is like top 4. So I agree with you, Calvin, and he is a big piece for... I've been talking about him in the offseason. Check back on that, but Rashawn Clark, I think, Rashaan Evans with Damone Clark hopefully will give us a little bit of help in there. But I don't know about this week. Let me reiterate that. I don't know about this week. I'm thinking more for that Rams game in 2 weeks from now after our bye. So, much love there, Calvin. I'm putting him on the board right now. Hit a comment or two, baby, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course. Pioneer said, our defense appeared superior because they were playing against a lucky offensive scheme all summer long.
Could that be it?
I mean, that definitely contributed.
I mean, that's what Mark Hovsepian says, we're not playing good enough teams there. The defense kind of fool's gold, and you know what? He's not wrong about that. Not at least after what we're seeing out here against the better teams on offense, specifically.
Let me see here. But yeah, we actually touched on the other comments. Big Gus cracked me up. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie.
It's Kellen Moore. It's Kellen Moore. Anyways, so as we talk about Kellen Moore and Mr. Dan Quinn, that's one of the battles on the field is going to happen out there. But not far from the only battle, let me put it that way. And you see their offense. Let's take a look at Justin Herbert, number 10. All right? He's faced the Cowboys early in his career, week 2 of the 2021 season. The game was close. The Cowboys won with that long field goal by Zerline. But, again, the only player that kept that game close for the Chargers was Justin Herbert. During that matchup, he ended the game with 31 completions, 338 passing yards, and 1 touchdown thrown. And since then, he's developed a lot better since then. And now Kellen Moore, as his offensive coordinator, an ideal pairing, supposedly, for this offense for them. So Herbert ranks 6th in passing yards. He averaging 276 yards per game. I don't know how he's down to 175 per game overall passing yards. He's probably taking a lot of sacks. But he's thrown 7 touchdowns. That's the seventh most this season. So he's getting those touchdowns now. He's getting those yards. But the Cowboys are the second best passing defense, allowing only 168 yards per game. And going against Herbert, he's going to need, Herbert's going to need longer. We know about the Kellen Moore offense. It's going to take a couple of seconds to get these guys in routes. So he's not going to be able to just do quick passes and stall us. He's going to have to redo a lot of things then if he does that. And he doesn't adjust much. We know that Kellen Moore doesn't adjust much. So when you see these little things going on with the Cowboys and trying to match up against what Herbert may do in this Kellen Moore offense, I don't know. I think that Herbert's going to have a tendency to give a little too much trust in that protection up front when this Cowboy defense is coming at him. Calvin Richard, another $1-2 holler.
Thank you, Calvin. You know what he had to say.
Tell me, hit me with the J-Lou 2. What did he say?
He says he's ready to go.
I agree. We just talked about that, right?
That's
Rashaan
right.
Evans.
So, hey, Rashaan Evans said that, hey, he could play Monday if he had to now. Does that mean he's actually playing Monday? Very, very unlikely he does. But I think from a physical perspective, he's good to go. He's healthy. But he still has to learn the playbook and our calls and a little bit more.
Yeah.
So
he's still in the practice squad as well. So he's got to get elevated for this game. We'll know we'll know Sunday if he'll be playing in this game or not. If he's elevated, I don't expect him to. I expect him by the Rams after the bye week. It comes next, and then the Rams game, that's when he'll be 100% on the field is what I'm thinking. Wearing number 32 next to number 33 at linebacker. So again, Herbert, guys, going to be under the pass rush of the Cowboys. Has to wait for Kellen Moore's plays to develop. We know about he's got to develop the plays, right? It's got to take 2.5 seconds for these guys to run their routes and everything to kind of work together. If Herbert takes too long and holding that ball, this will be. I'm telling you, this will be one of the matchup things. This will be dangerous for the Chargers. All right, scanning the field with those 2 seconds, 3 seconds of comfort to find the open receiver against our Cowboy pass rush when you're not throwing quick passes or running the ball. That is where, if you're not doing those things, then you're in trouble. I don't care how good your team is or how good the offensive line is, unless they can completely barricade us from attacking the quarterback and making not even getting sacks, but getting hits, pressures, and making the pocket dirty and getting it cloudy and getting our guys thrown in there. And he has to move from his spot. That's going to be key to keeping him uncomfortable, in the pocket and eventually collapsing it. That's going to be the key here. So again, guys, the key is this for him. He's going to attack downfield with high confidence. He's going to deliver very catchable footballs when he throws them. So keep an eye on Herbert. On the injury report with that finger, not a lot of under center stuff. He had a fractured middle finger on his non-throwing hand against the Raiders last week. So he's not expected to miss time, but you got to remember he's going to be having some issues gripping that ball a little bit. It's non-throwing, so it's just the gripping side of things, getting the ball from under center. But he's got to be careful. Another little bump for them to have to deal with. Now, Herbert has thrown for more yards, more touchdowns, and fewer interceptions than Dak Prescott this season. But you have to add in there Herbert's confidence this week that the Chargers are playing at home, although it's going to be our game, more fans for us than them. And again, it's usually at home for the Chargers. When they're at home, they usually win more often than not. But again, last week was a bye week that might be a little rusty. We'll see. Herbert will be 100% prepared. He should be after a bye week studying the Cowboys and prepare for this defense. Justin Herbert better be prepared for the defense. We're coming at him now. Running back wise, another key to this team stopping this team is Austin Eckler. He's played one game, but he was out for 3 weeks, had a bye. Now he's going to be back against us, and he's going to help Kellen Moore in the offense. Fantastic dual threat. He can run, he can catch. Number 30 is going to be hurting us a lot of times. He has tremendous bursts through the line of scrimmage. He's been injured, of course. But he's expected to play this week. You have to consider how much playing time the coaches will give him. So he might play, but I don't know if he'll play a full game for him. So he's going to get less carries and touches than I think he usually would. But the last 3 weeks he hasn't played at all. So he's going to get on that field. Hasn't played week 1, and that week 1 production shows you enough of a threat of what he's going to be. So we have enough film to know what he's going to be able to do to us when he's in there, a little limited compared to that first game. But that also means that you got to take a look at the other running back for the Chargers. His name is Joshua Kelly. And, when you look at his running style, again, he's going to be Joshua Kelly's number 25 on that field, behind number 30. And he's averaging 3.6 yards per carry. Not anything too good right there. His running style makes him easy to knock off balance. He doesn't make many guys miss, so he's not a good, he don't break tackles. He's slower speed, right, compared to most running backs. And his, agility makes him easy to get hold of, which reduces his productivity. So basically, when you do see Eckler out of the game and you got Joshua Kelly, you better take him down. You better be able to knock him down. He cannot get through tackles. He doesn't have the moves, so we can slow him down when he's in the game for sure. But you got to watch Austin Eckler. He's the true, playmaker out there for them at running back, and he can catch the ball, guys. He's a big threat. That the Cowboys had a lot of threats back there, but now with the fact that the running game is still not like the pure running game style of things for Eckler is not their big threat. We know Kellen Moore throws most of the time, so now for this game, last week you had to worry about McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel out of the backfield, a lot of these guys. So now we have to have our safeties involved with other things, other guys to cover, not really focusing on the receivers as much, looking at the running back. Now with Eckler, we should not have to use those safeties to focus on the run game as much. We're still going to do it, but not as much. So now the safeties and the cornerbacks can focus on their receivers. Yes, Keenan Allen, number 13. Other guy there, Palmer. What's his name? Joshua Palmer. He's out there, number 5. So Keenan Allen, number 13. Joshua Palmer, number 5. I'm going to get to them in a minute, but just think about this. Linebackers. Our linebacker, we talked about Damone Clark. Talked about our new guy here, Rashaan Evans, if he plays this game. Either way, our linebackers, whoever's in there, I'm going about replacing LVE, not just Damone Clark, but then Micah Parsons. You got Marquise Bell. So these guys will get more snaps in there, as well. Whichever players are out there, we have to make sure we got to stop Austin Eckler, number 30, on every single fucking play. The Cowboys have to be sharp in reading the play correctly. Make sure that, at the snap, make sure, he don't sneak around the edge. You got to take the right angles on this guy. When he runs outside the tackles is where he does his most damage. You cannot let him get to the edge. Eckler has a skill set, number 30, skill set of a wide receiver. He caught 107 passes last year. A running back, 107 catches. And he had 4 catches in one game. He had 4 catches for the one game he had under Kellen Moore, which means what? He's going to get the ball thrown to him a lot. He got 4 receptions in game 1 last year and 107 catches. Kellen Moore is going to use Eckler as a receiver a lot of the times. When he's running that ball, we got to stop him. We got to stop him running that ball. It's going to be a bigger problem for us. Anyways, moving on to now our corners and safeties can focus on the opposing receivers a little bit more. Keenan Allen, one of the best to do it out there right now. Every fan knows Keenan Allen. He's getting a little older, 31 years old, but a little less athletic as well, I would say. But he's out there competing. He ranks 9th in receiving yards. So he's still good putting up the numbers. He's the most effective playing from the slot. So we're talking about now, got to watch this for Jordan Lewis, a bigger receiver like Evans. Keenan Allen can cause issues for a shorter Jordan Lewis. So maybe do we flip guys? Do we put Iggy on the outside and slide in Deron Bland when we have to match up with Keenan Allen in the slot? We'll talk about that tomorrow and the breakdowns there. But most effective from the slot for Keenan Allen. He plays outside and out wide as well. The problem for Keenan Allen at the moment is that he was supposed to be teamed up with Mike Williams. Of course, he got injured a little while ago and is on injury reserve. I think he's out for the year. So now their rookie wide receiver, Quentin Johnston. All right, he's out there. He's number 1 is his number. And he'll be out there trying to catch up and get up to speed with things. His best game this year was the last game they played against the Vegas Raiders, where he went for 18 yards and converted 1 first down. Not much from him, right, from the rookie. And, of course, Joshua Palmer, number 5. He's the other outside receiver. Joshua Palmer is in his 3rd year with the Chargers. He's replaced Mike Williams, his role at least, on the offense in the past. And he started to play better in this last game against the Vegas Raiders. He went for 77 yards in that game. He's a natural pass catcher at all 3 levels and does pretty well when he runs with the ball. But, again, his issues come when he's trying to beat press coverage. Finding separation, he just gets nothing there. So something the Cowboy cornerbacks exploit. Separation, press coverage under Dan Quinn. That's what we will do to all these guys, specifically Joshua Palmer taken out of the game a little bit from that. But the main threat, of course, is Keenan Allen. And I do believe that our cornerbacks have to focus on him. When you look at our cornerbacks, again, with at least 100 snaps in coverage, I got to point out a certain player specifically, and our defensive backs are going to be major for this. And you know it's because it's in a slot. He's got the outside ability. DaRon Bland is somebody that could follow Keenan Allen around the field. That's going to be a definite key to this kind of matchup as we go forward with this. But again, with cornerbacks with at least 100 pass coverage snaps, DaRon Bland ranks first, number one, in PFF's coverage grades. Number one. 89.6 is his grade. It's basically a hair from elite. He's allowed 10 catches against them on 19 targets. Only 111 yards allowed against DaRon Bland. He has 2 pass breakups to go with 3 interceptions. Quarterbacks also against him when they target him, 30.7 NFL passer rating when they target him. Do you guys see DaRon Bland get even targeted last week too much? Not really, because he was blanketing his guy. And when you got other guys out there, they got to pick up the slack like Jaron Kearse. Kearse going to have to watch the tight end. He didn't do a good job last week at all anywhere. Kearse got to redeem himself. Gerald Everett this week. It's definitely not a George Kittle. But he's still dangerous. Gerald Everett, and like I said, Parham, he's banged up a little bit. These are the guys going to watch. But Gerald Everett ranks 4th on the Chargers in receiving yards. Only 107 yards in the 4 games and has not scored a touchdown. He's averaging, 26 yards a game. What's interesting, though, is that all 3 top receivers for the Chargers all have at least 1 fumble. They're not good with that ball possession stuff. And that also includes Everett, who also fumbles. So, again, now with Everett, we don't have to worry about the run game as much. We got to stop it still, but we don't have to use safeties and corners to help out as much. And the safeties had a bad game doing that last week, trying to help out there. This week we could be far more aggressive in stopping anything that comes to the tight end's way, specifically Gerald Everett, and that's what we need. This man here, number 1, to step up in this game. The last part of things here, when it comes to this battle, you don't see any of their guys there is their offensive line. Their starting center, Corey Lindsey, he missed their last game, was placed on the NFI. The word is, though, he's going to return this week, so we're going to get a full blast from them. Their starting center there, Lindsey, he should be back for them. Now, their guards, Zion Johnson and Jamari Sawyer. These guys, again, they're okay, but they've also given up multiple sacks from the inside. And so has Trey Pipkins. Trey Pipkins is our right tackle. And he's kind of a little banged up. We got a vet day, I guess, today. But the point is, they have a lot of issues there from left guard to right tackle. They give up sacks. And I'm talking about all of them. Outside of the center, I guess. Corey Lindsey coming back. But the other guy you have to really watch for, their best player, is Rashawn Slater, which we all know. We know he was a Cowboy, big name for the Cowboys, maybe pick up. But he's the only lineman who has not given up a sack and has only allowed 7 pressures this year in 4 games. This offensive line of the Chargers is going to be important for them to hold our defense back, because if they don't, the Kellen Moore scheme won't work. I can tell you that. But the offensive line for the Chargers this year, even though they're not looking great, they still allow sacks. They're looking more improved than they were in previous seasons. But now they're facing one of the best defenses. And without the quick passing from their side of things to kind of stall it, they got a block. We'll see what happens. Both offensive lines, and ours included, have allowed 9 sacks this year. The Cowboys' offensive line has allowed 9. They've allowed 9 more sacks this year than the Cowboys, but we've allowed 9 more pressures than them. So they don't allow pressure, but they do let you get back there and get hands on Justin Herbert. But the Cowboys have also played 1 more game than the Chargers and are delivering at a better rate. So we'll see what happens when it comes to this offensive line. They're definitely decent, but they're definitely breakable. And you look at the guy who has to break this thing, starts and always finishes with the best right now in the league, Micah Parsons, who, by the way, guys, with Leighton Vander Esch, this is a key. With Leighton Vander Esch out for this game, obviously for the next 4 to 6 weeks, with that next strain, Micah Parsons, not just pass rush wise, but he's going to be playing a lot more at linebacker, helping out back there. Micah Parsons is going to have to perform more off-ball linebacker reps than he usually does, and it's going to be done this week against the Chargers. His defensive role this week may have to change and be altered a little bit this week, but it's obviously no matter where he's at, the Chargers have to see always track where he's at. Linebacker, edge, inside or outside, left or right. He will be ripping shit up and making life a hell for Justin Herbert and this offense and Kellen Moore. So we'll see what they have in planned for stopping Micah or slowing him down, because if they got to let the Kellen Moore plays develop into 2 or 3 seconds, he's in trouble. Micah will be there and he'll be saying hello and sending messages to Kellen Moore. So again, this could make, again, when he's not pass rushing and dropping into kind of the linebacker run stopping role, this could make things difficult for the Chargers offensive line to know when he's going to be, where he's going to be every play. And it comes to setting up pre-snap blocking assignments. That's going to be concerning now. And you got to watch for those issues on their side. We'll see if Kellen Moore gets it together. I doubt it. But it will be interesting to see how much Dan Quinn uses Micah Parsons as a linebacker this week, and how much does he put in there at pass rushing and putting pressure on Kellen Moore's offense and Justin Herbert. So I'm ready to see what's going down. I'm excited about this game, and I'm ready to look past that Niner game, even though we can't forget it. We got to move on from it and check back when there's major issues going down and say, hey, this is coming up again. We got to fix this shit on the defense.
Right.
We definitely got to stop the run. There's no diggity doubt about that. And Austin Eckler is not a powerful run game, but they can, if you don't let them get started, or they'll get dangerous.
You don't necessarily need a lot of power against us, depending on the day and the team that shows up.
And if they block in the second level, our linebackers will get creamed right now. I think get the level that we're expecting from this linebacker. We cannot let that happen. That front line got to hold up. And if Kellen Moore is smart, you'd run a lot more possibly. But they really don't do that, and they probably won't stick with that. You know how Kellen Moore does. We know that much about him. So we'll see what happens, guys. But that's the breakdown of the offense versus our defense here. For the first little, another deeper look at the offense of the matchups, really, between us and them. We'll break down the actual keys to victory in these matchups, on Saturday and Sunday throughout those days. Tomorrow, how is Dak Prescott and this offense going to be able to hang and do, and what are his expectations with the run game, passing game, and McCarthy's schemes against this Charger defense, Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, and this Charger defense? We'll talk about the Texas Coast versus their defense tomorrow here on My Cowboys Family. So hit up the chat, baby. A couple comments as we do the shout-outs and say goodnight for today. I know we got here on pretty late tonight for our stream. We got on late, but, got to put that star over everything.
Stubby1085 said, Mike decided we needed a West Coast offense with a bad receiver core and no tight end. Brilliant. Fire this motherfucker. He's so bad, and our team has the most penalties.
Yeah, it's not a very cleanly coached team, or clean. To me, it's not even that much of, it's not a clean, kind of smooth offense. I don't see that at all, right? Stubby, you got that right, man. We got to get we got to see something here from Mike McCarthy. Not only the season be wasted and players see year be wasted, another year for some of these players, but he's going to be fired. At least that's one good thing, I guess, coming from that. If we had to struggle through this year.
So, Mike Aldana, much love to you as well. Remy Solis in the house. Cowboy Nation, Danny. The Cooper Rush can be your quarterback. He's definitely not ours.
Yeah, Cooper Rush cannot beat Dak, and Trey Lance cannot beat Dak out. So, that's not happening.
Rolling back a little bit. Cap 52, much love to you.
Good.
Pioneer in the house. Dirty South MVP. We have Calvin Richard, Big Gus. Retro Scotty, Thomas Garrett, WTP, Mike Aldana, Marco Sepien,
Big Mark,
Mike Aldana, Thomas Garrett.
Yeah.
We see Lost in Translation, Marco Sepien. I think I shouted you out. Yeah, so huge shout out to everybody here chilling, hanging with us, rolling with us. By the way, the man Marco Sepien continues his domination there, almost fully loaded up there. He's got 92 points on the stream, boss.
Much love the Big
and
Mark.
He's currently leading things this week so far.
On the overall board. And you know what that means? He's our sponsor of the week, 2 straight weeks, like our Cowboys back-to-back. He may try to hit up that 3 in a row. He's got the inside track right now, and he's got the all-time record of 15 in a row. The great Marco Sepien. Much love to him. He's got those 3 pieces of the board already in tune for himself. The sponsor of the week, the leader, the stream boss. Also, 9 weeks in a row for SnugX as our Cash App King. Woo, you know why he's here. Repping that star over everything. Much love to him. And we have, of course, the king of the gifting board, Mr. Skeptical Fan. Much love and appreciation to the man staying skeptical. But this week, who are some of the leaders? Well, Justin D is the leader in the gifting board right now, trying to take the crown from Skeptical Fan. The Cash App leader is Jason Renfro, trying to break that big streak by SnugX, who, by the way, he's almost halfway to Jason Renfro's all-time record of 20 weeks in a row. And then sponsor of the week, like we already said. It's Mr. Marco Seppi, he's ready to come in there and swoop in and take in that 3 in a row. Something the Cowboys couldn't do. Should have done 4 in a row, honestly, with Jimmy Johnson if we hadn't fired him there. Right. Jerry Jones. Anyways, guys, I think that's it. As far as my side of things, shouting out everybody on that. Yeah, and again, everybody in the house, hit the like, hit subscribe, hit the notification button, baby. Why do we do this here? Why the hell do we do this to almost 3 in the morning here in the East Coast on My Cowboys Family?
It's that navy blue, that silver too, and that star over everything.
Well, yeah, win, lose, or draw. Good, bad, or ugly, you can see it right here. We rep that star over everything. And here on this channel, YouTube, 6 years and beyond. Never forget the number one thing here, now, and forever. As always, go Cowboys. Let's get that 6 and beyond. Thank you guys for dropping that knowledge and beyond in the chat all night long. Thank you guys for dropping that love from above.
Real quick, Stubby. Yes. Yeah, obviously our feelings on Dak, I think for Mr. MCF and I both, have definitely slightly shifted in a permanent way and not necessarily in a positive direction.
Well,
so so speak for yourself. I'm just saying, and again, this doesn't mean that, I'm like, throw Dak out with the bathwater and whatever. I just think that for a variety of reasons, I do think that Dak has taken a bit of a step backwards currently where he's at. I don't want to get into it too much, but he just asked how we feel about Dak right now.
Yeah. I mean,
I am not feeling as positive. I do think he took a bit of a step back.
I think that the step back is not only, Dak missed CeeDee Lamb. I'm just going to question this. Is it Dak just didn't see CeeDee Lamb in this scheme? Is it? But that happened like 3 times. What about the other 40 times that was horrible out there? That's the scheme side of things, and that's why I keep saying, unfortunately, that's a big thing that had to help us this year. Mike McCarthy was to fix shit. But Dak Prescott's involvement in the scheme and creating it is also where Dak gets blamed on the creative side of this offense. And so I get more upset with Dak than his perception on the field. It's more about his game planning with Mike McCarthy about, hey, this is the way I wanted things set up for my ease. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't know. Mike McCarthy with Dak Prescott, it's not working, this combo. Not after 5 weeks. It's still a long way to go. And I don't really... I say that only because it's true, but it doesn't mean it's going to be fixed. So my thing is this: let's just say that if the Cowboys were able to get, a couple of new ideas on this offense through McCarthy somehow, or somebody he talks to, if we can expand and kind of put in a couple of things until this week, next week, into the bye week, and before the Rams game, I think we can maybe have something going forward here for the into the playoffs, let's say, right, and maybe have a chance to kind of get out of this offensive funk, which right now it ain't gonna be fixed with 1989 Bill Walsh West Coast offense. So George Seifert, what I'm saying, it's not gonna work out. So we got to make sure that we get this shit fixed as fast as possible, or else it'll be at best is playoffs, and that's what Dak with scheme whoever. That's what it's gonna be. So
I agree.
That's the way it looks to me. That's my opinion there on the Dak Prescott situation. He is to blame a lot here for the creation of the scheme, for his play on the field, missing guys. But, this is not an excuse. He's still not the biggest problem. The scheme is still the biggest problem, and Dak in it is a problem as well. So, yeah, across the board, everyone gets a big bite of the shit burger that the Cowboys got to eat. Who are playing so poorly. Specifically on offense, but really defense has been a letdown as well. That's once the defense cracks, the offense cracks. That's kind of what I said from the beginning, and that's kind of what we're seeing now. Unfortunately, Mike McCarthy's running the 1980s West Coast offense. Anyways, guys, I was saying the drops of knowledge in the chat, drops of love from above, like Calvin Richard, and of course the great Marco Seppi. And thank you guys for your drops of support and love here on My Cowboys Family. But now it is time to clock out and drop out officially for the night. Appreciate everybody here who dropped in with us. And baby, as we get relocked and reloaded for tomorrow's discussion about our offense versus this Chargers defense, what do we got to do before we drop out of here for the night?
We got to drop the beat.
Oh, yeah. Thank you guys for dropping again in here with us and doing a little back and forth on our Cowboy discussions and our Cowboy chats. As you know, here in MCF, guys, another one of our chats in the books. And tonight was hopefully they have zero charge on offense tomorrow or on Monday night when we meet them. And Kellen Moore's running the show. It should not have too much energy. We should know what we've got to do out there against this familiar face. This defense has been practicing against basically since Dan Quinn's been in Dallas. So there should be no excuses here. I'm ready. You ready? We're all ready. We talked about this and more. The linebacker situation, which is the fear with Damone Clark, and now it's going to be he's 57 right now, but Rashaan Evans will be wearing number 32 and playing linebacker probably no later than that Rams game. Which, by the way, those Rams travel to Dallas in a couple of weeks after the bye week. We should have a lot more knowledge about what we're going to see from this linebacking core and this defense, hopefully fixing stuff a little bit better as we go against these powder blue Chargers. Here, it's about MCF and about that navy blue. That silver, too, and that star over everything. Never forget, ever forget, the number one thing here on my Cowboys family. Much love to everyone. We'll see you back here tomorrow for that breakdown defense, their defense, our offense. We'll talk about it. Thank you guys for hitting that like, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell. And have a good night. Stay safe. Much love to all. Peace out. And never, ever forget, Go Cowboys!
Monk on the beat. Monk on the beat.